Cheers, Drew.
Oh, cheers to you too. How are you?
I'm good. You
Great.
Looking very tropical today.
You know what? I'm trying
Different themes going on. I'm like space, and you're like desert island, whatever.
I'm just working with the motif, man. 'Tis the season, right?
'Tis the season indeed. 50 years ago, right now, the three astronauts were hurtling through space on the first moon landing. So that's why I wore the shirt today.
That is crazy to think about.
Pretty crazy to think about, yeah. But that's not why we're here.
No, we've talked enough about moon landing pens.
We kind of have, but that's okay because it's kind of timely. But we have something else that's kind of timely too.
To clean out your moon landing pens.
There you go. We have cleaning sets, cleaning products. We have a number of them at Goulet Pens at this point, and we honestly haven't talked about them kind of holistically in a long time.
Which is crazy because you use them every day, or at least we do.
And I think it's one of the most overlooked things in the pen world.
Yeah.
Like when people are getting new into fountain pens, or even people that have been using them a long time, they may not be getting the most out of their pens because they don't have a good cleaning regimen, or at least a restoration type regimen for cleaning their pens.
Right.
So
everybody does it a different way, but this is what we've found works for us and might work for you as well. So let us know your thoughts on what you do to keep your pens spick and span.
Absolutely.
But this is how we do things.
One of my favorite cleaning products, and probably the single most
I think I know what you're about to say.
amazing discovery in the fountain pen world has been
the
bulb syringe, also known as an ear and
ulcer
syringe.
Yes, that's what it'll say on your package.
Yes.
So don't be afraid.
You know, also if you've ever had children, this is like what they give you at the hospital.
Boogie sucker.
Boogers out of there. You know, it's multi-useful.
Absolutely.
I would recommend dedicating it to one purpose. Maybe don't use it for all those different needs, but
yeah, you think shimmer can clog your pen.
Oh, Chris. Oh my gosh. Okay. So bulb syringe, great for flushing out pens, specifically if you have a cartridge converter pen.
Yeah.
All you got to do is you got to remove the cartridge or the converter. You clean the cartridge or converter separately, and then you take the bulb syringe, you fill it with water. It holds 2 ounces.
That's a lot of water.
Yeah, it's basically equivalent of like 30 to 50 cartridge or converter, capacity. You stick it on the back, you press it through, you have clean water that's flushing all the way through. Otherwise, you're sitting there at the sink, you're going back and forth with
30 to 50
syringe,
times.
and it's crazy. It takes forever. So bulb syringe, super handy.
Absolutely.
Use it on
One tip I will shout out. You notice how Brian had his fingers on both the bulb syringe and the grip section.
Ooh, good call.
Good idea, because that thing puts out a lot of pressure, which is great. It cleans it really well. But if you're not also holding onto the section of your pen, that thing could go flying. And if you're using it above a sink, boom, right into some stainless steel or some ceramic.
I'm not going to say that I've never had that happen.
Oh no, we've learned the hard way for sure.
If you especially, you don't want to shoot, you don't want to do it up because you can go like that.
You don't
Stuff
want to
could
do it
squirt
at all.
everywhere.
Yeah.
It can make a huge mess. What is also handy too is if you have it like in a cup. So I use a sink and then I catch everything in a cup so that it doesn't splatter ink everywhere.
Yeah, you can use a cup, or if you are doing it over sink, make sure you have a very secure grate or something covering up the drain so you don't lose any parts.
Absolutely. Next, it's really handy is pen flush.
Yes.
So pen flush is something that we have formulated, but it's also been something that has been formulated kind of home remedies for years and years and years in the pen community.
Nothing secret.
It's an ammonia-based cleaner, so the only thing you wouldn't want to do is like soak an aluminum pen in this because aluminum can corrode over time with
depending
ammonia.
how raw it is for sure.
Yeah, but it's generally pretty safe for fountain pens, even like vintage pens and stuff like that. That's kind of why we went with this formula. We include it with, of course, a blue bottle. Why not? But we include an ink vial.
Yeah.
So basically the idea is you can fill the ink vial with the flush. You can then take your pen, you can fill it, and then you can reuse that flush in the vial. And then when it gets really, really, really gross, dump it, fill a new vial, and you can use it for quite a while.
So that way you're not dumping a large amount of ink. You're not dirtying up the whole bottle. You're just dealing with a little bit at a time.
Exactly.
Conservation.
And what I recommend doing when you're using a flush, it's really good if you have any type of shimmer ink, something with heavy sheen, or if you have something, if you're like me, you leave your pens too long, they tend to get kind of dried and crusty, and they just need a little extra oomph. That's where something like a pen flush can be really handy. So what you do is you clean it, basically kind of, quickly, loosely with water.
Right.
Then you use the flush, then you clean it with water, again, just to get the rest of the flush out of there, and then you should be good to go.
Yeah, because there is a little bit of soap in here, so you want to get that flushed out before you ink up your pen.
Absolutely.
So you might see a little bit of bubbles if you're shaking up a converter full of pen flush or something like that. Totally normal. Just rinse it with water and you'll be good to go.
The brass sheet, this is something that not everybody needs, but it's nice to know that it's there if you need it. This can happen sometimes if you're writing for a long time, if you have very, very fibrous paper that can get into the slit of the nib and kind of clog it up over time.
Yeah.
Sometimes just flushing it with water won't quite get it. Or if you're doing any type of nib smoothing or grinding or anything like that, the grit from the tipping material can easily get up into the slit.
Even with something as smooth as the micro mesh that we sell, you still want to do this if you're doing any sort of nib customization or work.
Absolutely, because that stuff can build up in there. Really all you do is take the corner of the brass, you put it into the slit, and then you drag it through. It's best to do it from the underside so that you don't accidentally scratch the coating on the nib. Brass is a pretty soft metal. You're not going to like, bend the nib or anything like that.
No.
But
Steel will win that battle.
Yeah, but if you have a really, really, glossy coating on the nib, like most nibs are, you don't want to scratch that. So doing it on the underside is best if you can, or if you can remove the nib, that's also easy.
Yeah, if you remove the nib, you can actually sometimes start from the breather hole, which makes things really easy.
And one great way to remove the nib, good
there we
segue,
go.
Is with Goulet grip. It's a very fancy name for a piece of rubber. And really all it is a piece of rubber that you can use to help you remove a nib, whether it's unscrewing it, like on this Herbert pen. This has a Yovo nib unit that you can easily undo like so, or if you want to actually yank the nib in the feed out. This isn't necessary for every pen, every cleaning kind of thing, but I know some people like to be very thorough. It gives you a better grip rather than just using your fingers on this slick nib. It allows you to pull those things out of there. Then you can clean it, you can reset it, whatever you need to do.
And like you said, with inks like shimmering ink, you might want to get an old toothbrush or something and really go to town on that. And you're not going to really be able to clean it without taking it out of the feed.
Yeah,
housing.
Especially if you have a shimmering ink that you've let dry up and get crusty inside your pen. Not that I've ever done that, but it is possible. It's just good to know that that is an option for you.
I like to have two of them so that I can hold the pen with one and the nib with the other, so that, especially with slick pens like that one with a high polish, high sheen, you can get a good grip on both ends.
And you can use like an old bike inner tube. You can use a rubber band, like a really thick rubber band. There's nothing that magical about it. We just wanted something that was easy and convenient for you if you like to do that a lot. Next thing we have is an ink syringe set. Now this is the thing that if you leave it laying around your house or your office, people might have questions about what are you getting into here?
Yeah,
but
they're not pointy, they're blunt tip syringes.
They're blunt tip needles, so they should, they're still needles, so you don't want to stab anything intentionally with it.
Don't stab anything with anything.
It's relatively harmless there for humans. So basically what this is for, you can use it for a couple different things. You can use it for refilling, like if you have ink cartridges, say you don't like the converter that comes with your given pen, you can fill your ink syringe and then you can fill your cartridge and go on about your way. You can actually use it to clean out ink cartridges, like say you have one, you want to refill with a different ink color, you can flush it out with an ink syringe. It's easier than using a bulb syringe or anything like that.
It's also great for proprietary cartridges that you may not like the converter that goes along with that brand. You might prefer to use the cartridges, so something like that would be really handy to have.
Absolutely, very helpful. And then the last thing I have here is polishing cloth. So this Goulet polishing cloth, we like to name everything about ourselves here.
It's not due to lack of creativity or anything like that.
Mine is well used. The blue part is just cloth. There's nothing too crazy going on there. It's just a soft cloth. The white part is more like a jeweler's cloth.
Yeah, there's a little bit of
polishing compound.
It's not greasy or oily or anything, but it does have. It's a very, very fine abrasive, actually.
Yeah, it is. So it's made really for polishing like metal. So if you have a nib that's getting some fine scratches on it, or it's just got some schmutz, as Drew likes to say, you can just kind of polish it up like this.
No one likes schmutzification.
It's really great if you have like a sterling silver pen, or if you have a pen with silver accents or something.
I use it a lot for my clips because I find my clips get dinged up really easily, just for them being so exposed, so out there. They're really susceptible to small, fine scratches. So this is great for that.
And it can work on pen bodies too. If you have a plastic pen body, I wouldn't use it on like an anodized aluminum or something. That's not going to do anything for you.
But your standard resin, it can help.
If you've got a highly polished pen, then you can use it on that. It might take a little bit of work depending on the material. Like this pen's Aluminite, it takes a lot to polish this thing. It also doesn't scratch up that easily, so that's a pretty straightforward one. But that can be handy if you like to keep your pens looking optimal.
Solid.
Boom.
It's a lot of fun.
I think we got it.
So let us know if you do anything differently, if you have any tips or tricks or any other materials or tools that you like to employ. Because we're always looking to learn.
And then a question we get, just to kind of wrap it up, how often do you need to clean your pens? It's going to vary a lot based on how you use them, or what ink is in them. Are you letting them dry out completely, that kind of thing. I find that every 3 to 4 weeks, kind of with normal use, you should be in pretty good shape. If you're refilling it with the same ink, you don't have to go ham and just completely tear it apart and clean it. You can just do a general flushing and then ink it back up with the same ink.
But if you're using high sheen, high shimmer, that might change.
Yeah, if you're going from like a dark purple shimmering ink to like a light yellow, you're gonna
want to
clean that out thoroughly. And then if you're like me, you just let your pens sit for a couple of months, crust up like crazy, full restoration cleaning, and then fill it once and then let it crust up again.
And then before right now, go through and say, "Ooh, I've got one. Oh wait, no, we can't use this.
Oh wait, this one's disgusting." That never happens.
No.
There you go. So you can check out all these products on gouletpens.com. Thank you so much for watching, and right on.